So I'm going to give a little brief speech, I guess. I'm going to tell a little story. In 2001, a young hot-headed high school graduate took a Greyhound to the 100-mile wilderness up in Maine. His intention was to hike to Georgia within 6 months along the Appalachian Trail. One afternoon, he decided to camp in a dense wooded area off the trail on a ridge near the first rushing river he'd seen in weeks. He cleaned up, washed his clothes, hung them on tree branches to dry, and sat in his birthday suit in seclusion to read a book. Just before dusk, there was a loud trampling beneath the ridge. Then out jumped a coyote and landed next to him, fixated on where the trampling had come, but not even noticing the naked kid 5 feet away. The first sighting of a wild coyote for a small suburban kid is amazing and exotic, but frightening at the same time. He thought the coyote might respond like a wild pigeon or something, so he stood up to shoo it away. The coyote's face as it cringed and bolted into the woods was scary enough, but later that evening, howling filled the ridge from surrounding mountains. It was like a scene from when animals attack. He picked up 2 sticks, started whacking the trees around his campsite, screaming and howling back at the night in a desperate attempt to say, "There's a human over here, right here, human." After going to Huxley and learning more about interactions between humans and their environment, he kind of learned what the coyotes might have been howling to each other that night, and thinking about it, you should have seen the look on the hikers who passed by me the next morning. Environmentalists are saying we need to save the planet, but the planet is not threatened. The way we live within the environment is threatened. Buzzwords like sustainability and sustainable and green are helpful, but they're meant to describe something else, like sustainable building design or green landscaping. Sustainable development is more than just putting fancy, expensive solar panels on roofs or bike lanes on every road. It's also ensuring farms, businesses, and neighborhoods will recover from earthquakes and floods, as well as economic disasters. We live inside the environment, but often address it as external or foreign from us. Can I see a show of hands of those who feel jobs are the most important thing to the economy? Show of hands. Who feels that jobs are the most important thing to the economy? Now raise your hands if you feel the most important thing to the health of the economy is the environment. Come on, don't be shy, raise your hands. Well, we're sitting in a room full of Huxley. Oftentimes, jobs in the economy continue to be one of the greatest concerns in this country, but as Huxley knows, they're part of the environment, even though we often pit them against each other. Our society can't get bigger than the environment, and we've seen what happened these past 2 years when our economy became larger than our society. Solutions to any of the major environmental issues of our time need to empower people in a way that creates jobs. That's sustainable development. We must consider the past to inform the decisions of the present if we really value a sustainable future. Thomas Paine once wrote, "What we obtain too cheaply, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value." And Paine was referring to freedom, but encouraging sustainable development also isn't going to be easy. And if it were, we'd value it less. A little over a year ago, I went to get my credit evaluation, only to have my dreams of graduating in 4 years shattered. I hadn't taken my writing proficiency course and needed 3 classes only offered in consecutive quarters, naturally. Oh, and FYI to those who delay their credit evaluation. But I valued my time here at Western. Education is a gift, even if it means 5 years and brutal debt, it's still a gift. Not only for us personally, but for society. And today we're moving society one step further toward a just and equitable world, but our responsibilities to the future are just beginning. The key to success in life is finding the brilliance in everyone. Now let's be the individuals to come together not on the side of liberal or conservative, but on the side of accepting that access to a high-quality education is a right and not just a privilege. Give a person a fish and they'll eat for a day. Teach a person to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. But educate a person about their relationship with a fish and they'll feed their community for centuries. Many of us here today are considered the millennial generation, the most optimistic to saving the world. But saving the world is not settling for what was green at the time. We're going to face the greatest environmental risks ever to challenge modern humanity. We need to think beyond the green consumer labels. The biggest shortfall to sustainable development is empowering individuals so they feel that they're contributing to an equitable and beneficial future. Our society needs a movement towards civics that provides more than just information and solutions to the environmental issues, but empowers people to find those solutions themselves. Equity and empowerment are just goals, and no matter what the mainstream media tells you, they're not code words for socialism. The oil spill devastating the Gulf region is considered the worst man-made environmental disaster the U.S. has ever experienced, and it was likely due to negligence. But what about the story several years from now, when media attention's faded? Who tells the story of the anglers who lose their businesses and livelihoods? Or the beach communities that'll deal with the environmental, health, and economic consequences of the spill for years to come? The consequences of these events and the stories of recovery are what inspire people to act on real change. And the mainstream media has become so comfortable with telling facts, but facts without context are useless. The greatest environmental threat to humanity is if there aren't diverse, independent voices there to tell the story. And without independent voices in the media, we may have never known the chemical dispersants used to clean up the oil are environmentally damaging themselves. Yeah. Or that BP was filling out their own inspection reports in pencil before handing it to the agency in charge of regulating them to be traced over in pen. There are amazing connections and inventions created to revolutionize the way we live within our environment in every community. All it needs is a public voice. Huxley understands this because its award-winning Planet magazine has consistently had the largest environmental staff as any publication in this country, and it's run by students. Huxley College turned 40 this year. And looking around the room, it's amazing to think Huxley was one vote away from non-existence. But it's taken the passion and willingness of individuals like us to sustain it. What we're doing here today is our commitment to that decision made 40 years ago, our commitment to change the world, or at least our very own. Humans make mistakes. It's inherent. As Thomas Henry Huxley once said, there is the greatest practical benefit in making a few failures early in life. We correct our mistakes by passing the torch to our children, but it doesn't come without hard work and dedication. Every social movement and belief system starts with initiation from many individuals and not just one. Our future depends on us achieving a meaningful change that benefits our community, our environment, and our economy. We don't need a false sense of change. We're not just another set of individuals passing through this institution on the way to high-paying jobs. We are the individuals who will plant the seed in history for the rest to follow by example. So let our change start here. Let our change start now. And put optimism into action so 40 years from now, we can say that we were part of that change. And without us, it never would have happened. Thank you, Huxley, and congratulations.
Yeah!
Wasn't that good? Whoa. So I asked him, I said, can we get a copy of that? Because I got to borrow the fish story. That's a good one. We'll see light of day and some other, but I'll give you credit. That's leadership. When we look at what are we what are we proud of here at Huxley? There's a lot, but I think the whole part of an applied education, but producing the leaders that we need in society. It's one of our taglines, but it's really true. It's more than a tagline. I mean, I don't think any of us would disagree that you will see CJ's name in the future in some major leadership role. Thank you and congratulations again, CJ.